How's it going, everyone? My name is Justin, and in today's video I'm going to be showing off 7 metal pictures that I finally managed to pull the trigger on purchasing from Displate.com. I was actually just about to hang these up, and I thought, well, before I do that, let me go ahead and make a quick video kind of showing off the pictures as well as briefly talking about why I settled on these ones. For people that may not be aware, Displate.com is actually a website where you can get pictures, images, essentially posters made out of metal of, TV shows, movies, video games, anime, manga, that sort of thing. And I had been meaning to decorate some of my walls for a long time, so like I said, I finally pulled the trigger and got some of these things. So I'll show off these ones, and then I'm gonna start decorating these walls. So, real quick before I show these off, a lot of my place actually has pictures up already of things that are kind of gaming or anime related. In my living room, I have a really, really big picture that I may see if I can post up right now of Full Metal Alchemist, which is Edward Elric and Alphonse Elric in black and white. I have a Zenyatta framed picture, as well as this picture right behind me that can be kind of difficult to see, but it's essentially a mixture of Kingdom Hearts and One Piece characters that are kind of running on a beach. So a lot of gaming stuff, a lot of anime stuff, but I'm adding to that, but I also got some other ones that are a little bit different. So this first large one that cost about $98 to $99, trying to make too much noise as I put this up, is your boy Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII. Very briefly, like I mentioned, I wanted to pick Final Fantasy games, or I wanted to pick posters rather, that were essentially Hallmark games, or things that as time has went on, I haven't really lost my interest in them. Even though I'm not as excited for the Final Fantasy VII reboot or remake as I feel everybody else is, Final Fantasy VII is one of the best Final Fantasies that we could have asked for. So this picture, it could be hard to tell, but it's actually Cloud Strife in like a watercolor-esque look. And when I were to take the plastic off, something you'd see is that it's actually on his back, it's actually Midgar as another image within the main image. So, Cloud, Final Fantasy VII. The second one that I've got here is just the PlayStation logo. It probably looks a whole lot cooler if you were to look at the website or see this in person, but it's kind of like a turquoise, black, greenish color. And right now, PlayStation is kind of my main console. I've owned Nintendo consoles and Xboxes and things like that in the past, but as I tried to do more live streaming, and all my games, all my libraries, they're pretty much all PlayStation 4 at this point. So that's my main poster, and that was going to go right up on that side wall over here. These smaller ones that I have, so I should mention the larger ones usually run about $98 to $99. The smaller ones, like this one here, are usually $44 to $48, depending on, I guess, what the content is. But something that I did, and I'll see if I can put up another picture of this, but I actually tested the waters by getting a Horizon Zero Dawn poster first, and I had it framed in black. Came out really well, and that one was about $100 with shipping, so it was like $98 plus tax and everything like that. Came out great, and so I ended up purchasing just like 7 of these. So they can be a bit pricey if you were going to get them, and I think there is actually a promotion going on for the summer right now in 2019 for, I think it's like Summer 30 for Displate, and you can get 30% off of an order. So if you are going to go with a bulk order, or like any more than like 3 or 4, then you'll definitely save a lot of money. But this first one, I don't know if you can see this with the light. Could be a little bit tricky, so I'll just describe it if it's not that easy to see. But this is a fan art picture that I used to see around the internet around season 5 and 6 of Game of Thrones. And it is Jon Snow over here, and in the bottom, well, my right, is Ghost. And they're beyond the wall facing off against a whole bunch of whites. So I think this is one of my favorite Game of Thrones pictures I've seen. I mean, there's a ton of them out there that are really good, but as far as what I could select from Displate.com, I thought, man, Jon Snow, he's one of my favorite characters in A Song of Ice and Fire, so I thought this is like something I'm going to hang in my room for sure. So that one's really cool. I actually don't know what we have up next here. Oh yeah, okay, so we have another Final Fantasy one. So this, again, these could be tricky to see. I'll see if I can move a little bit closer to the camera. But this is from Final Fantasy X, and this is actually the box art of Yuna, or the box art from Final Fantasy X. It's a lot of the art for the later Final Fantasies, and this is Yuna doing the sending, I believe, from Final Fantasy X, which is when she essentially passes someone on to the afterlife, I want to say. it's been a while since I played Final Fantasy X, but it's like this dance that a lot of the summoners would do, and that's her doing that one from Final Fantasy. So that might hang up here in this room. Got a lot of Final Fantasy stuff in this room already. This next one, yes, of course, this can be a little bit tricky to see. This might not be all that easy to see up here in the top, I guess, left, where my finger's pointing. This picture is actually of Breath of the Wild. I guess it is the box art for Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda. I really thought about getting something from Ocarina of Time. I think the Ocarina of Time for me is probably the second best Zelda game once this one came out. I think that everything about Breath of the Wild is kind of like what Zelda fans, or at least me, always wanted to eventually get to. Like once we got Ocarina of Time and the Majora's Mask came out and then Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, I think that there was always something in the back of my mind that I'd always thought, man, I would like to go anywhere, pick up any item, you know, have all these different puzzles and all these different weapons and items that you can, you know, interact with and just be this huge, vast world. And Breath of the Wild ended up being that game and more. So I feel like this, I mean, I could be wrong, obviously, in the future, but I feel like this Zelda in particular is about as good as we're probably going to get in a Zelda game. So immortalized. I like this Zelda game, and I wanted to pick a picture from that one in particular. What do we have up next here? Oh yeah, of course, TV show. This could be a little bit tricky, and it's especially tricky because I can't really see this too well from where I'm angled. So I'm going to describe this first, and then I'll probably move a little bit closer to the camera. So this is Avatar: The Last Airbender, which, obviously opinionated, I do think is one of the greatest shows of all time. Greatest like cartoon shows, animated shows. We have Katara up here in the top as a waterbender. You've got Prince Zuko, firebender. We've got Aang, the Avatar, doing his airbending, and then Toph as an earthbender. See if I can move that a little bit closer. Yeah. And there was a lot of different styles. I mean, it took me like a week and a half or 2 weeks to really settle on which ones I wanted to get, because I wanted them to be diverse. I wanted there to be a TV show here, a movie there, an anime here, a video game character there. And I mean, I'm going to end up getting a few more of these, probably like 4 or 5 more to decorate my back room. But, you know, I think these ones were some of my favorite ones that I managed to curate. And then finally, I didn't exactly save the best for last, but this last one here, it's a book. I don't know if that's easy to see from the bottom. And then these doors and a moon. No, it is the Fellowship of the Ring from Lord of the Rings. I think Fellowship of the Ring is probably my favorite Lord of the Rings movie, and Lord of the Rings is probably, based on how Game of Thrones ended, I would say that Lord of the Rings is probably still my favorite high fantasy story. And there was one I saw on Displate that was really cool. I didn't end up getting it. I got really close to getting it. But it was a picture of, it was showing the different stages of kind of Middle Earth in a way, where the first one was like The Hobbit and the second one was Fellowship and then Return of the King. So showing the adventures of like Smaug and Frodo, and then all the way to, Smaug and Bilbo, all the way to Frodo and Mount Doom. It was a pretty cool picture, but ended up kind of settling on this one because I think it's my favorite of the movies as well. I think in the future I might end up getting some Star Wars stuff, maybe some more anime and video games, but I do have a fair amount of anime and video game stuff already. But that's pretty much it. I'm going to get to decorating these. Like I mentioned, I wanted to quickly show off these pictures before I hang them up. That's it. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.